Good evening. Welcome to the Planning Development Advisory Committee virtual meeting by electronic participation in person at the Worcester Community Center for August the 8th, 2023. I'd like to call the meeting to order. We have two meetings this evening, one being the Committee of Adjustment. We'll be addressing two minor variances, and then we'll break, and then we'll commence the second meeting, being the Planning and Development Advisory Committee, where we have 3 severance applications. So please note that the meeting is video and audio recorded, and all electronic meetings are uploaded to Ms. Kelly's YouTube page. By registering to participate in the meeting, electronic means you are consenting to have your likeness and comments recorded and posted on YouTube. So I'll do the roll call now, just starting with Paul Sedra. Present. Jeffrey Bourne. Present. Dennis O'Connor. Present. And Chris Pritchard. Present. My Councilor Johnson Booth, I'm present as well. As well, we have staff from the county, Zach Prince and his associate, Asvari Jadha. And we have Courtney Whitefox at the far end of the table, our interim CAO, and the secretary in charge of the committee beside me, Lynn Banks. Okay, so let's do a moment of reflection. Thank you. Could you read the resolution for the confirmation of the agenda?
Certainly, that the committee approves the agenda of August 8th, 2023 as circulated.
And we're moving second. Moved by Dennis, second by Chris. All in favor? Thank you. Let's move into the next item, approval of minutes of the resolution.
Certainly, that the committee of adjustment approves the minutes from the meeting held on July 11th, 2023.
Okay, mover and seconder. Jeffrey, Paul, all in favor? Thank you. And last item is, before we get into the actual item, is exposure to a conflict of interest. Do we have any conflict of interest from members? Nods. Okay, thank you. And we'll start into the application for minor variance or permission under section 45 of the Planning Act. And the purpose of this hearing is to inform and provide the public the opportunity to ask questions or express views with respect to minor variance application before us today. The township requests that you please notify the secretary of the committee by email at linbanks@postwich.ca if you wish to be on record and would like to be notified of future hearings and decisions regarding this application. So the format of the meeting is follows. Staff will present information report, specifically outline the purpose of the application, summarizing compliance with the township's notification submission requirements, and outlining staff comments. Then we'll ask the applicant to come forward and present the purpose and details of the application and any other further relevant information. Following this, the public can obtain clarification, ask questions, and express their views on a proposal. You will have a maximum of 10 minutes to speak. Following this, the members of the committee can likewise obtain clarification, ask questions, and then the committee will deliberate the application, render a decision, and decision will be subject to a 20-day appeal period. So let's read the first one, 7.1, minor variance application D13 DUA, Lisa and Nelson Duarte, 7737 Rumford Road 34, concession 10, part lot 21, concession Portsmouth. Requesting relief of new comprehensive zoning bylaw 23-2018 as amended from section 4.2.1C. The purpose and effect is to provide relief from section 4.27.1C outdoor swimming pools to permit existing pool equipment that will reduce setback to be 0.7 meters from the lot line. Okay, so Lynn, would you please summarize the application, notification, submission requirements, and outlining staff, agency, and public comments?
Notice of the application was given in accordance with the provisions of the Planning Act. Notice requirements for the application have been met, and the following comments were received from the Township Fire Department, They stated that they have reviewed the minor variance application for pool equipment placement, and they have no concerns providing the propane tank location shown on the sketch conforms to the setbacks from the building and property lines as required by Ontario Reg 211-01, propane storage and handling. The distance from the tank 20 building has to be at least 10 feet, and the distance from the tank to the property must also be 10 feet. If the applicant could confirm that these distances are maintained, the department has no concerns. Source water is advised that the property is not located in a multiple area, and the application can be screened out and does not require section 59 notice under the Clean Water Act. GRCA has advised that they have no objection to the proposed minor variance application. That information currently available at the office indicates that the subject property is within the regulated allowance adjacent to wetlands. Due to the presence of the above noted features, the entire property is regulated by the GRCA, and any future development or other alteration within the regulated area will require prior written approval from the GRCA in the form of a permit pursuant to Ontario Regulation 150-06. They further note that the proposed minor variance application requests a reduced lot line setback at 0.76 meters rather than the required 2 meters to allow for existing pool equipment. And the plans circulated with this application are consistent with the plan approved through GRCA permit number 409-22. GRCA staff do not anticipate any impacts to the natural hazard features as a result of the proposed development, and they have no objection to the approval of the minor variance application.
Okay, each time you was a neighbor also, sent in comment.
Yes. So this comment, and excuse me if I pronounced the name wrong, Connie and Larry Taves or Tavas. Their address is 7731 Wellington Road 34. And they wrote, to whom it may concern, we are submitting the following comments with regard to the above identified minor variance application. We do support the application to allow the Duartes to avoid the unnecessary expense of moving the pool equipment 1.24 meters away from the lot line of the agreement that any pool discharge will always be directed away from our property.
Okay, thank you. And could the applicant please join the panel? Courtney, would you please put the appropriate drawing on the board? Okay, would you please state your name and address for the record?
Lisa Duarte, 7737 Wellington Road 34.
Go ahead with your presentation.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. We are here seeking approval for a minor variance with respect to our pool equipment on our property. As mentioned, it is 0.76 meters from the property line instead of the 2 meter requirement. We did hire a contractor, NEB Contracting. It's a father and son operation that was a referral through my husband's work to complete the work. And they placed the equipment where it is based on the existing propane tank, which was on the property before we purchased the home. It does meet the requirements that you mentioned, the 10 feet. It is right far away from the house and all of that. So he used that, the propane tank as the guide for where he should place the cement pad and the pool equipment. And we have built a privacy fence around the equipment, and we'll be planting some additional shrubs and tall grasses around it as well. And that's basically what we're here for this evening, is to get approval. And my goodness, my drawing looks, I sent it the drawing. No, he didn't, I did it. So that's really what our ask is here for today. The equipment is there, the pad is there. We believe that it was 2 feet instead of 2 meters, and our mistake.
Courtney, are there any members in the gallery or the public watching this video, this meeting that would like to speak or state their view?
So through Mr. Chair, if any members of the audience would wish to make comments, you can use the raise your hand feature. It's just at the bottom of your screen. Don't see any hands being raised.
Thank you. Okay, let's turn it over to the members of the committee. Okay, Paul, start with you.
Sure, I'm okay.
Okay, Jeffrey,
Yes, okay,
Dennis,
I'm okay as well. Fire department flag propane tank is too close to your property line, would you be considering moving it to be compliant with the law?
If they flag that,
There, it's not the fire department's call in this case, but they have flagged the infraction. Your propane supplier might help you on this, but I personally don't have an issue with the variance, but you're closer to property line than propane tank should be, and we should really possibly shouldn't be countenancing an infraction.
Just to add in here, having run a fuel supply business, it is the propane company's responsibility to make sure that it's there and they're the one that's on the hook. From TFSA, your insurance may indeed want a 10-year certificate. In which case then you'll have issue.
good.
noted.
Thank
I don't have any concerns either. So let's read the actual resolution.
That the committee approved minor variance application D13 DUA with the following condition, and that condition is that any concerns with the building public works department are addressed, including adequate servicing as well as drainage and grading.
Okay, so let's go around the table. Paul? Approved. 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 I approve as well. Okay, and it's subject to a 20-day appeal period. And let's have a mover and a seconder. Moved by Anna, seconded by Chris. All in favor? Good. All right, thank you. All right, so let's do the next one. Minor variance application B13 CHA. Michael Lorenz, Paul Chartrand, and Victoria Lynch Chartrand, 90 Gilmore Road, Concession 8, here. Part lot 23, Township Postage, requesting relief from Newfoundland zoning bylaw as amended from section 4.16.1A. The purpose and effect to provide relief from section 4.16.1A MDS1. New non-farm uses to permit a reduced MDS1 setback to be 217 meters than the 255 as required from the barn at 76 Gilmore Road. Okay, then would you please read the summarizing application, notification, submission requirements, outlining staff, agency, public comments, recommendation.
Notice of the application was given in accordance with the provisions of the Planning Act. Notice requirements for the application have been met and the following comments were received. The GRCA has advised that information currently available at their office indicates that the subject property contains a wetland, water course, and regulated allowance adjacent to these features. Due to the presence of the above noted features, portions of the property are regulated by the GRCA under Ontario Reg 150-06. Any future development or other alteration within the regulated area will require prior written approval from the GRCA in the form of permit pursuant to regulation 150-06. The minor variance application requests permission to allow a reduced MDS1 setback of 217 meters rather than the required 255 meters from a livestock facility. The reduced MDS1 setback is needed to facilitate a lot proposed to be seven through consent application B52-23, and GRCA staff have no objection to the minor variance application. They further noted that additional comments regarding the consent application will also be submitted to the County of Wellington. Township's Fire Services advised that they have no concerns with the minor variance request. And Source Water has advised that this property is located in a vulnerable area as indicated, but would not create a significant drinking water threat. The application can be screened out and does not require a section 59 notice under the Clean Water Act.
Thank you. Courtney, please have the owner of the applicant join the panelists to present the application.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nancy Shoemaker. I'm the planning consultant representing the owners of the application. I don't know if staff have the other, there's an air photo that shows properties in
You have another one, Cory?
I don't have that one, I may have.
Yeah.
When she.
just so the committee members get an appreciation of surrounding land uses relative to the barn at 76 Gilmore. Well, while it's looking, I'll start. So this is an application for a minor variance for the barn at 76 Gilmore in support of the severance application for the property at 90 Gilmore. Because the new consent would result in more than 3 lots in this area. We had to double the MDS calculation that applies. So had it been just 3 lots in the vicinity, that MDS would have been approximately half of what it is now. So because of this being 4th lot, we have an MDS requirement of 255. And we are only able to provide the 217 meters. The owners of 90 Gilmore, the Showtrends, approached the owners of 3 barns in the area. One was on Victoria Road. It's currently unoccupied. So we did the MDS calculation on the assumption of an unoccupied barn that could be used in the future. And we still met the MDS calculation on that. Then along the south side of Gilmore Road, there are barn buildings at 77 Gilmore. But the owners of that barn have changed it into a storage facility, and that's been confirmed. They had a permit to remove anything related to storage of livestock. That's good. So that MDS is no longer applicable. So the only barn we're dealing with now is the one on the north side of Gilmore, circled at 77. The owners of that property would not allow us entrance onto the property and would not fill out the form, although they advised that the building had been converted at an earlier date for storage facility for their son's business of some sort. Now he's no longer using it for that. But we couldn't, because we didn't have access and because they couldn't would not fill out the forms. We had to do the application as an unoccupied barn that could accommodate livestock in the future. So as you can see, further east on Gilmore at 74 Gilmore, there was a severance and a new house has been built there. That house is much closer to the barn than the property that we're dealing with. I should say it's about 74 is to the west, and we're quite a bit down the road to the east. So there is that house that has been recently built that is closer to this farm than what we're proposing. In addition, there's a house on 90 Gilmore, the Showtrends house, which is also closer to the farm than the lot we're proposing. So we hope the committee can see that a minor variance in this case would be appropriate there are certainly buildings closer to this barn than the house that we're proposing off 90, that it should, the owners of 76 decide that they do want to put livestock in that building. There are houses closer to that building than where we're proposing the consent that would impact its future use. I'd be pleased to answer any questions.
Okay. Then, are there any registrants to speak?
No, Mr. Chair, there have none.
Okay, Courtney, would you please canvass the audience to see if there is anybody online who'd like to ask questions or provide comments?
Certainly, Mr. Chair, if any of the attendees wish to make comment, you can use the raise your hand button. It's just at the bottom of your screen. Make sure I don't see any hands.
Okay, just go around the table. Oh,
No comments.
Jeffrey,
I'm
okay, Dennis,
okay. Nothing for me, thank you.
and I don't have any questions or comments. Okay, Lynn, would you please read the resolution?
That the committee approve minor variance application B13-CHA with no conditions.
Okay, mover and seconder. Okay, so moved by Paul, seconded by Dennis, all in favor? Okay, and for the record, just make sure that each one of us say approved, opposed, or deferred. Start with you, Paul. Approved. Approved, Jeffrey. Approved. Approved. And I approve as well. Thank you. Okay, any new business from any of the members? I just have one item to bring up, subcommittees. We have 2 subcommittees and staff are willing to come early before any PDAC meeting or stay after any PDAC meeting for assistance with any subcommittee work. So if you could let Lynn know if you plan to have a subcommittee before or after the subsequent meetings to meet, and please go ahead and make the arrangements to go. So either before or after, we'll celebrate for. And if this applies to both committees. So Lynn, I have a resolution for the adjournment.
That the committee of adjustment hereby adjourns at 7:23 p.m.
Okay, mover and seconder. Moved by Paul, second by Dennis. All in favor? Okay. Moving to the advisory committee. Okay, so third, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Good evening. There will be welcome to the Plan Development Advisory Committee meeting for August the 8th, 2023. There'll be 3% for the advisory committee to provide comments. And please note that the meeting is video recorded, and all in-person electronic meetings are uploaded to Mr. Powell's YouTube page. By registering to participate in the meeting, electronic means you are consenting to have the likeness and comments recorded and posted on YouTube. Here we go with around the table again for roll call. Paul, present. Jeffrey, present. Dennis,
Present.
present. Chris, and I, also John Schools on present as well. All right, let's do a moment of reflection. Thank you. Lynn, would you please read the proclamation of agenda?
That the committee approves the August 8th, 2023 agenda circulated.
Okay, I'm a mover to second. Moved by Chris, second by Dennis, all in favor? Thank you. And do we have any disclosure of pecuniary interest? None. Thank you. Okay, we have no delegations and we'll move on to the approval of minutes. So let me please read the resolution.
That the Planning and Development Advisory Committee approves the minutes from the meeting held July 11th, 2023.
Okay, mover and seconder, move by Jackie, second by Paul, all in favor. Thank you. And notice of public meetings or hearings, we have none. Start with the reports. So we'll read the first one, Land Division Committee 9.1.1 revised service application B 87-21, also known as D10 BAU. Jane and George Volkman, Park Lot 19, concession 7, recently known as 4507, concession 7, Township of Whistler, proposed revised severance of 1.1 hectares for 132 meter frontage, existing agriculture use for proposed rural residential use together with proposed access easement on severed in favor of retained parcel. Retained parcel is 39.6 hectares, 176 feet of frontage, existing proposed agriculture use for the existing dwelling, garage, shed and barn, together with proposed access easement on retained in favor of severed application. Okay, so Lynn, were there any agency comments received?
We received comments from Township's Fire Department, the Township's Bylaw Enforcement Officer, and the Township's Building Department, and all had no comments or concerns with the application.
Did we have any registrants request to speak?
No, Mr. Chair, we did not.
How about any written comments?
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay, and are there any attendees watching the hearing would like to give comments or ask questions regarding application for an discussion? Please be advised that comments can be heard at the Land Division Committee meeting. And Zach, do you have a date for that?
What is it? September.
That's fine. We'll let the presentation happen or report after. Okay, with the applicant, please state your name and address and present.
Jeff Buseman, I'm with the Van Art Surveying, live in 19 Oriole Crescent Well. I'm here to represent the application.
Please go ahead.
Sure, thank you. Committee, this severance application was before the committee and also Land Division Committee previously. We got a lot of different feedback and we decided to look at changes and possibilities to address all the comments. You may have received a letter that we dated June 28, kind of highlighting the comments. I'd like to just go over them briefly. Initially, the severance was set up to be on the very left where you see the words proposed reserve 1. The severance was intended to be on that side and share the existing driveway with an easement to get to it. There was feedback to say we'd rather not see the severance right abutting the future industrial development lands that are immediately to the left. And so, and then also MTO didn't really like the configuration with respect to easements. So what we've done is we've moved the whole severance over to the right so that the new property line, if I may, the new property line will be right down the middle of the existing driveway. The reason we do this is because MTO has actually a pretty cool way of dealing with shared easements. And I should step back for a second. This is really close to that interchange that's under construction on the Hanlon. MTO took over and expropriated concession 7, including significant lands along the front of all these properties right down to County Road 34 for future rerouting of traffic from 34 up concession 7 to the Cloverdale. Because it's under MTO jurisdiction, we have to go to them for an entrance permit. The Whistler can't issue it. So MTO says we don't want a new entrance off this property, but they are willing to allow a shared entrance. So they're willing to allow the shared existing entrance. Okay, so to make a shared entrance work well as an easement, they like the property line right down the middle with an easement on each side, subject to together with on each side, the main benefit is to sort of say, hey, these two parties have to get along if they, either of them want the driveway to work. And it works quite well. MTO has done this a number of times in Puslinch, and I think it's actually not a bad way to ensure proper maintenance and usage of that driveway. They share it well, and they both have a vested interest in it. In this case, in addition to it, the owner will be the future owner will be the current owner's daughter. So there'll be an extra future interest to make sure they get along. Anyways, I've deviated a bit. So the idea is that shared entrance in the for the easement. MTO also asks for a reserve. That's a strip of land about 1 foot wide along the front of the property. Along the whole front, severed and retains except for where the driveway is. That way MTO gets to own that strip and really enhances their control of any future entrances to sort of say, if you want an entrance over this reserve, you got to come to us and we'll declare it a public highway, or we'll sell you that reserve to make an entrance possible. So the two main issues that we've addressed is MTO to have a proper shared easement. And the other one that we've addressed is to have a significant buffer to the industrial lands to the left. GRCA has also commented on this, and they would prefer, this is not their preferred, but they can tolerate it. And I could give you the quoted words. I have an email in that letter that talks about, good afternoon, Jeff. Thanks for circulating the updated plan and conceptual building envelope. It appears that the proposed dwelling and septic system can avoid the natural hazards. With that said, the overall severance concept is still not the preferred from a natural heritage perspective. So in this case, we've got a small pocket of wetlands right here. Now, that wasn't even identified in the GRCA website, but it's obvious that it exists. So we have it here. So what we've designed is that we use the existing driveway, and the driveway will come here, and the house and the envelope and the septic and so on will be constructed here. We did provide a site plan showing these details. We got quite a distance from the wetlands, and we got more than enough distance from the flood line. So this is a flood line elevation as well. And we got plenty of buffer, and we feel like we meet the intent of the GRCA policies and the general policies for natural environment to be well away from that. I don't know if you've received the site plan, but I have a detailed one here. Is it worth passing around, or?
Members.
I'm seeing, yeah. Okay. Nice bigger picture. So you can see here's the floodline elevation in the dark blue, and the wetland pocket is way over here.
That's just a blow up of that drawing there.
It's a blow up, and it has more detailed elevations, survey work and so on, yeah.
Yes.
So in summary, we feel like that the weaknesses of this application as it came earlier to this committee and to land division committee have been addressed. And we look for committee support in this application. Any questions or comments?
I'll start with you.
Yeah, sure. I just, maybe for the county, just because there's a lot of change in this area. Like as we speak, there's a lot of construction, and Jeff made the point, and I'm looking here, abutting is rural industrial lands, I guess, right next to it. And I guess my understanding from the initial plan also is that concession 7 possibly would be more commercial, industrial focused down the road. So is this like fitting our official plan of putting a house on this road where it seems to be that, okay, well, that's the plan, is to reroute traffic through concession 7 and make it a little more busier, a little more larger. I'm just curious, like, where the county stands on it.
To the chair, I think we saw it share the same concerns. It is adjacent to the rural influence employment area, it is an improvement from the last one, moving in 72 years, but yes, having another residential lot there will affect the future industrial development. And it is right across from the energy. So there are concerns still as it was originally.
I'm again, just from, I thought this would maybe help me because I drive past there every day. So where that bridge is, the new bridge. Where is this lot? Like I try to figure it out and it's a bit of it's a disaster there right now, quite frankly, right? Like there's a lot of change. So I'm trying to understand exactly where it is compared to that energy. It seems to me it's like right in front of the energy.
Through the chair, I think that piece you can see where it kind of juts in there. I think that's kind of the top of the hill. That's right, Jeff. It's back into the water.
Oh. Okay. See, this is around the energy. So it is. Yeah, okay.
Rick, did you want to say something?
I think it's opposite, but to, if I may address the comment that you've made, if I may. The industrial employment lands is here, and that's where it stops. So from here to 34, it's not designated as such, it's designated agriculture, secondary ag. So it has the, you know, if we had the opportunity to put the severance on this side, it would be great, right? Be even further away, but it's all wetlands here, we can't do that. So I just want to make clear that industrial in its future is only this way.
And just one last question, actually, and maybe Jeff, you can answer it, just around easements on a driveway. The easements on it, like when there's an easement on a driveway, there's more than one owner using the same driveway. Who has responsibility to maintain it, you know, snow removal, things like that? How's that usually work?
So you, in this case, I guess what I like I said, I like about the MTO arrangement is that it's a shared responsibility. And, you know, fundamentally, if either one of them want to get out, it's got to be plowed. So they both got to work on it together. And it's just yeah, how else can I explain that? It's a shared responsibility because of that easement.
So just then my comments on it is just because I have some experience on hydro line things as well. Is that should be clear, even if it's with MTO, I think this should be some sort of something on paper between MTO and the owner of this, you know, the driveway to say that this is the responsibility. This is how it's gonna get taken care of, because it gets loose and then there's disputes. That's just my comment. Thank you.
Jeffrey?
No, I just. Okay. There was a comment from the GRCA that they were gonna come out, or were able to come out in. Check my notes. May or June to confirm the wetland in the corner. Did they ever come out and what were their comments?
They did not come out yet. We did not. There's been a fair bit of investment put into this. They did not come out yet. They will eventually when we're ready to take that sort of forward. We wanted to go through the planning approval process first before spending money on that aspect of it.
So there's little risk that the wetland or any of the buffers to it would expand past your drawing.
We're pretty good. We got it. We've done this a lot of times. It could be a few meters, but I think
It's not a material distance.
it's not a material distance
Okay.
difference. No, like we've got 56 meters to the possible septic envelope. We got, you know, like 70, 80 to the possible house. The minimum buffer is 30. So
Yeah.
I'm feeling very comfortable about
Yeah,
that.
so there's adequate
There's adequate.
contingency, I'll call it. And to Paul's comments, these folks are obviously well aware of the road developments from the bridge, the road and into the future and
What I found very
know what they're
interesting,
getting.
you're absolutely right. Like the expropriation that MTO took was this much.
Yeah.
That's as wide as the boat was. And the reason they do that is in this case is because it's quite hilly, the road. And then there's side slopes and so on that they're gonna do, and that's why it goes that far back, but it's significant.
Good, thank you. Is it? Thank you.
Okay, my comments are as follows. First of all, this is, we're looking at the property, whether or not the person's family lives there or not, I think is immaterial. Because nothing is forever. It could be somebody else sometime in the future, and it could be, somebody else would not get along with the other, person. I really do not like shared driveways just simply because of the conflict that, it may pose for the future, and it's not the township's responsibility to mediate that sort of thing. The other comment I have is, it's gonna be a busy road. I know the argument is, well, Highway 6 is busy and there's homes close to that, but this is gonna be really busy. This is the only access from the east end to the end. So it's gonna be a lot busier than the highway. The highway is, 4 lanes plus, sometimes a center lane, and this is only gonna be, 2 lanes, my understanding. And thirdly is the industrial lands. The industrial lands are to the north. I share Paul's concern about industrial lands, like if I was gonna be a betting person, I would be saying that these lands here would be rezoned for industrial, simply because it's greater value. As well on the west side, one piece is a rural employment area, and the next piece directly opposite is secondary agriculture. I could see all that being industrial in the future, just simply because of the high traffic use. So those are my comments. So I'd like to ask committee members to see what comments they would like to make and see if we get a consensus. I'll start with you.
No, I think I agree with that, and again, to your point, I agree with that, like, you could sell a lot today, and somebody buys it, they don't know what's happening, and 72 meters in a huge industrial building next to your house, like, it's not, it doesn't fit right now, so yeah, I agree with all of them.
Jeffrey, your comments?
The ones of caution for sure for the new owner. Or you said it is the existing owner's family? Sorry, said again? You said the existing owner's family? Yes. So they really do still, they own it, they just want to change the lot line.
No, they want to create a severance, severance for their daughter.
Yeah.
Any other comments?
No.
I agree with your comments, Phil.
I understand the hesitation, the proximity, it's a busy road and it's industrial lands, but these folks know this going in.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could end up, as others have said, being a house surrounded by industrial lands and heavy truck traffic, but they know the situation.
They know that very well.
Linda would like to make a comment.
Through you, Mr. Chair, with respect to the easement, easements are required just for the community's information to be registered on title to the property. It spells out dominant servient lands, it spells out all the terms as far as maintenance, so like the term of the easement, anything that's required between the two families. If by chance the severed parcel is sold to a different owner, that easement carries on title to that property. So they will be aware of it.
All right, so we have the opportunity now to say to the land use committee, we support or do not support. Let's go around the table. I'd like to have something to say. Are you supporting this or not?
I'm not supporting it.
Jeffrey?
I can support it.
You can't? Okay.
They don't support it.
Chris?
Yeah, I would support it.
I don't support it. So the comment to the county is the majority of the committee does not support the application from a planning perspective. Please read the resolution.
But the majority of the committee does not support the application from a planning perspective.
We need to get into the actual wording and have this application.
In the matter of severance application, B 87-21, D 10 BAU, Jane and George Bockham, part lot 19, concession 7, this is known as 4507, concession 7, the township of Post Lynch. Proposed revised severance is 1.1 hectares with 132 meters frontage, existing agricultural use for proposed rural residential use, together with proposed access easement on the seven land in favor of the retained parcel. Retained parcel is 39.6 hectares with 176 meters frontage, existing and proposed agricultural use with existing dwelling, garage, shed, and barn, together with proposed access easement on retained in favor of the severed parcel. Mr. Chair, if this is approved by the county, would we still want to have a condition?
Please go ahead with the conditions.
Okay, that the owner satisfy all the requirements of the township plus lunch, that's our standard condition, including taxes paid in full and payment of the consent review and condition clearance fee. I'm not sure if safe access would be under our responsibility if the MTO is the one that will be providing the entrance permit.
We're included in the county can take over.
Okay, and then that the owner enter into an easement agreement for the shared entrance for both the retained and severed parcels in favor of the retained parcel, and that the easement agreement be registered on title to both parcels to the satisfaction of the township. And that the owner obtain zoning compliance for the severed parcel to further reduce setback from the natural environment zone to the satisfaction of the township, and that's more conditions.
And comment that we made
That
that short.
the majority of the committee does not support the application from a planning perspective.
Okay, have a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Dennis, second by Paul. Okay, all in favor? Good.
Thank you.
Going to the next one. So we're doing 9.1.2 service application D 5223, also known as D10 CHA, Michael Victoria Chartrand, part lot 23, concession 8, municipally known as 90 Gilmore Road, Township Post Lunch. Proposed severance is 35.22 meter frontage by 122.12 or 0.43 hectares. Existing proposed rural residential use of existing shed and well. Retained parcel is 1.1 hectares with 100.48 meter frontage. Existing proposed rural residential use with existing dwelling, garage, and septic systems. And again, I'd like to note that it's committee's mandate is to only provide comments of county's land division. And do we have a date for
Yeah, it started September 14th.
that? So which will be on September 14th. Okay, Courtney, would you please ask the applicant or agent to come forward?
Chairman, members of the committee, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Nancy Shoemaker. I'm the planning consultant representing the owners of this property. So the proposal is to sever a 0.43 hectare parcel along the east side of existing 90 Gilmore Road. Before we began this, or the initial stage of this consent, we worked with the GRCA to see if they had a concern with the what's called a water course, and it's along the easterly front corner of the property. That water course is pretty much dry today. If you've been out there, you can see it, but we did map on there the water course and then the buffer associated with that. So that you'll see the dotted line, that's a regulated area by the GRCA in that front easterly corner or portion of the property. They had asked us to prepare a preliminary plan showing how the driveway would enter the property and stay outside of the regulated area. They didn't mind the encroachment into the regulated area, but they asked us to consider keeping it outside, which we've done, we're showing on this plan. And then a significant setback to the house itself. And then to the north of that, you'll see on the plan is the agro septic system. So the lands are designated as secondary agricultural, and zoned agricultural, both are retained and the proposed severed lot would meet the zoning requirements. I think that's great. Now, the plan we're showing you obviously is a concept, and it was really largely created to show GRCA how this site could be developed, so. I understand that whoever the new owner is of this lot, obviously they'll have to come to the township with their final site plan, but this shows that the site can be developed to the satisfaction of the GRCA meeting the township zoning setback requirements as well. I'd be pleased to answer any questions.
Were there any agency comments received?
The township's fire department said that they have the following comment, and they've asked that you please ensure that any existing or proposed trees or planting adjacent to the driveway are far enough away from the driveway so that they will allow emergency vehicles unimpeded access to the home. Fire truck requires approximately 5 meters of clearance above the road surface, free of obstacles such as tree limbs, and a road width of approximately 15 feet wide to be able to use the driveway. And the only other comment we received was from the township by a law enforcement officer, and he said that they have no concerns with the consent application.
Okay, all right, so we'll start with the committee members, Paul.
No.
Yes,
No problems.
Nothing for me, thank you.
and I have no comments, so, then I'm gonna suggest that, we put in the, comment, the committee, supports the application. And then if you can read the comment and the conditions, we'll vote on that.
Certainly, that the committee supports Severance application B 52-23, subject to the following conditions. That the owner satisfy all the requirements of the township of such financial and otherwise including taxes paid in full consent with the open condition clearance fee. That safe access to the proposed severed lands can be accommodated to the satisfaction of the township. That the existing accessory structure located on the proposed severed parcel be removed to the satisfaction of the township. And the last is that the owner obtains zoning conformity for the barn located at 76 Gilmore Road for the MBS 1 setbacks to the satisfaction of the township.
Have a mover and second. Moved by Jeffrey, second by Paul, all in favor? Thank you. All right. Moving to the next one, 9.1.3, lot line adjustment application B 5423, also known as B10, that's VAN. Adrian Van Opstal and Julie Rowe Van Opstal, part lot 30, concession board, this will be known as 7.71 concession 1, township of Footpunch. Proposed lot line adjustments 0.24 hectares with no frontage, vacant land to be added to budding residential agriculture parcel. Adrian Van Opstal and Julie Rowe Van Opstal. Okay, and again, I'll note that the committee's mandate is going to provide comments to the county's land division committee when it considers the application for approval. Okay, so you're here, Jeff, so would you please present your application?
So yes, very simply, when the application was made originally, the owner had intended for his son to live at this house. And his son has decided not to. It's been quite a few years. So they're going to basically want to take this chunk of land and add back to the farm, so that the severance will be that the back line will be about the same as the back line as this parcel here. The parcel will still be 0.4 of a hectare, which meets the basic standards. So it just basically, we want to make it smaller.
Lynn, were there any agency comments received?
The township fire department and our law enforcement officers that they have no comments or concerns with the application. The building part of stated that they have no concerns with the severed parcel being merged with a larger parcel. On the retained development of any structures will need to remain 3 meters from the maximum horizontal conduct swing of the overhead hydro wires or relocate overhead hydro prior to development.
Were there any other written comments?
No, Mr. Chair, there were none.
Okay, so let's turn it over to committee members, Paul.
No,
Hey, Jeffrey.
No, I have no problem.
John? Chris?
I'm good, thank you.
And I'm good as well. So I suggest that we put in the comments that the committee supports the application. Would you please read the conditions of?
Certainly, that the committee supports severance application B 52-23, subject to the following conditions. That the owner satisfy the requirements of township coastline financial and otherwise including taxes paid in full and payment of consent reviewing additional clearance fee. And township will file a letter with the secretary treasurer of the county of Wellington. Declare that condition because it's a lot line adjustment. We only have the one.
Okay, so mover, seconder, roll call falls, second by Trixie, all in favor? Here,
Thank you.
thanks, there are no zoning amendments or applications, and do you have any correspondence?
No, Mr. Chair, we do not.
New business, any members have new business? And I just want to reiterate what I said at the beginning of the vote, if you have, sorry, committee of adjustment, and if you have, we have two committees that are all stuck for this, PDAC, and if you people, and would like to meet before or after, please make arrangements with, Lynn and, she will, or Courtney will, a minute to meeting. Okay, so let's move into, closed session, the resolution then.
Certainly, that the planning and development advisory committee shall go into closed session for the purpose of confidential legal report regarding personal matters, but an identifiable individual, including local board employees, and regarding position, plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or behalf of the municipality by the board, like fence dispute.
Okay, have a mover, secretary. Chris. Chris, all in favor? Nick. So, Courtney, you're shutting it off.
So the resolution is that the committee move into open session at 8:26 p.m.
Okay, mover, second. Second by Chris, all in favor? Great.
And then the next resolution is that the committee receives confidential verbal report regarding personal matters about an identifiable individual, including local board employees, and regarding a position, plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board, line fence dispute, and that staff proceed as directed.
Okay, mover, second. All in favor? All right, last item is the adjournment with resolution.
That the planning and development advisory committee hereby adjourns at 8:27 p.m.
Okay, mover, second, Chris, all in favor? Thank you.